Good morning. Yesterday we were discussing about the various 5-year plans, and we discussed about till this third 5-year plan. So I'll directly show you the document with relation to third 5-year plan, and later we'll continue our discussion. So with the annual plans and with respect to remaining other plans, and we'll continue try to complete the whole planning system today. So now, if you look at the whole system very clearly, first plan was a successful one, and the second plan where we gave higher priority to industries was a partial success. And when it comes to the third plan was a complete failure, meaning the performance was very very poor, and I told you the reasons yesterday. So now let me straight away open the document for you and kindly have a look at this. Please look at this. Third plan period was considered to be as a take-off stage, and India wanted to become self-reliant and self-generating economy. Emphasis on basic industries continued, but agriculture was also given the priority. Obviously, these changes will take place because of our experience. And the performance during this period was considered to be very, very, very poor. Yesterday, we discussed all the reasons. Kindly have a look at the following lines. The reasons for poor performance can be attributed to Chinese aggression in the year 1962, Indo-Pakistan War in the year 1965, failure of the monsoons, particularly during 1965 and 66, and rupee was devaluated to boost the exports. What is the meaning of the devaluation? So we'll try to see. There is nothing but the deliberate reduction of the value of the rupee against a foreign currency. So along with the examples, I'll tell you, so when we reach to that particular area. And we also understood yesterday that, so this is the particular period where India has lost two prime ministers, and in the beginning of 1966, Srimati Indira Gandhi became the Prime Minister of India. And after she becomes the Prime Minister, the first dynamic step that was taken by Srimati Indira Gandhi was that to give away the 5-year plans for a period of time. That's the reason why, so she started the annual plans. For the first time in India, annual plan was introduced by Srimati Indira Gandhi. Starting from 1966 up to the year 1969, 3 annual plans were introduced, and all of them put together is called first annual plan period. Right? So tomorrow, if there is a question in the examination, who was the Prime Minister that introduced first annual plans in India, and your answer will be Srimati Indira Gandhi, number 1. Number 2, I already told you yesterday. Let me tell you once again because it is very important. Annual plan period is also called plan holiday. Kindly remember, plan holiday in the sense, so this is the holiday for 5-year plans, and it is called the, this is a plan holiday. Meaning is simple, the planning is always expected to be flexible so that the government makes certain changes according to their, these requirements. And Srimati Indira Gandhi thought that 5 years is really a long period. So you need to review and revise your plans periodically. Hence, annual plans were introduced by Srimati Indira Gandhi. Right? So what is the period? 1966 to 69. 3 years. Put it together is called first annual plan period. Am I clear? That's number 1. So this is the time. Just now I told you. So during the third plan, there were wars with the 2 countries, and immediately followed by failure of the monsoon. Right? Obviously, if there is a failure of the monsoon, as we understood, that Indian agriculture will be affected. So now what should be done? Now, so take some measures. Take some measures to do something with respect to agriculture, because that is the very important thing. So we cannot depend so much on some other countries. And that was the time where Srimati Indira Gandhi has given free hand to Dr. M.S. Swaminathan. And in India, the concept of green revolution was introduced. Green revolution was introduced, and this is the area. This is the time where high yielding variety seeds have been used. All right. So this high yielding variety seeds, they give more productivity than the normal seeds. So and luckily what happened, so during that time everything went on well, and our green revolution was a successful one. Our green revolution was a successful one, and the problem of the agricultural output has come down. Again, lots of agricultural produce was available in India, and with respect to agriculture problems, it has been rectified now. So this happened from 1966 to 69. Before I go to the fourth plan, after 66 to 69, Srimati Indira Gandhi thought that because the situations have been stabilized, this is the time for us. So this is the time for us to go for the, again, go back to the 5 year plans. That's the reason why from 69 onwards, from excuse me, from 1969 onwards, again, fourth 5 year plan was introduced. Clear? First three plans, 5 year plans, followed by one annual plan period, which comprises 3 years, right? And followed by fourth 5 year plan. Now, so let me tell you one thing. So in the year 1969, certain drastic steps have been taken by Srimati Indira Gandhi with respect to the banking sectors. With respect to the banking sector, and nationalized she has nationalized, 14 banks during that time. Nationalization means, so this is a concept where the government will take over the private banks, and all the private banks during that time with a worth of 50 crores, with a worth of minimum 50 crores have been taken over by the government, and it was called the nationalization, right? And for the first time in India, nationalization of banks took place in the year 1969. At that time, the Prime Minister was Srimati Indira Gandhi, and the number of banks was 14 in number. How many banks? 14 banks were nationalized. Is that okay? So meaning is simple. So during that time, Srimati Indira Gandhi thought that, many private banks are charging very very high interest rate, and it is becoming a problem to the people. So in order to reduce this problem, let's nationalize this. Clear? And Srimati Indira Gandhi was the Prime Minister. First time in 1969. Similar step has been taken by Srimati Indira Gandhi again in the year 1980, where six private banks were nationalized. Six banks were nationalized in the year 1980. First time 1969, and number was 14. Second time 1980, and the number was 6. Altogether 20 banks were nationalized. And kindly remember, both the times Srimati Indira Gandhi was the Prime Minister of India. Am I clear? So now you got these points. So now, so let's look into more points with respect to the annual plans, and after that we'll move towards the fourth 5 year plan. Now, kindly have a look at this. Look at this. Look at this. Annual plans 1966 to 1969. So the annual plan is also called plan holiday. Why? I told you already. So there were three annual plans during that time. You can have a look at this. 66, 67, right? So I told you this one. Let me go further. And this particular 3 years period put together is called annual plan period. This is the first annual plan period. Next is the planning process during the third plan was affected seriously because of the wars and famines. Hence, the 5 year plan was given up by Srimati Indira Gandhi till economic normalcy is restored. Next, green revolution was initiated in the country during this particular period. High yielding variety seeds were introduced. Kindly see here, green revolution. I am going to discuss with you separately. Don't worry about that. I am going to discuss this one separately. High yielding variety seeds were introduced during this time. As the supply of food grains increased, the food prices came down and the economic stability was restored, which is the very, very important for countries like India, which is developing in nature. And nationalization of the banks was a, just a minute, yeah, was a major step during this particular period. Am I clear? How many banks were nationalized? 14 banks were nationalized, right? And what was the year? 1969. Next, economic stability has been restored. Indira Gandhi thought of going back to the so-called the 5-year plans. So obviously, the problem has been addressed now. That is the reason why. So again, we can go back to what is called the 5-year plan, and the fourth plan was introduced. And the fourth plan was introduced, and this particular plan period is from 1969 to 1974. So again, if you look at that this particular period, there was a war with this Pakistan in the year 1971, and of course this is for the purpose of liberating Bangladesh. And during that time, East Pakistan was liberated, and now it is called, now you call it this as Bangladesh. So because efforts were made by our government for this fighting against this Pakistan, again the concentration or the focus on the development was not there. That is the reason why. So this particular plan is also not a complete success because the resources were diverted. But what happened during this particular period? So I would like to tell you now. Have a look at this. The motto was growth with stability and progressive achievement of self-reliance. Emphasis was on growth with agriculture. Sorry, emphasis was on growth with the justice. Along with that one, agriculture and allied sectors were given the priority, and the achievements fell short of targets. Obviously, fourth plan was not a success. And what were the reasons for the poor performance? So look at this, look at the list. Instability of the prices, number one. Number two, Indo-Pakistan War in the year 1971. Influx of refugees from Bangladesh before and after the war. During various other subjects like public administration, this is for civil services. I discussed this point so very elaborately, right? uh, so whenever the time permits, then we'll have a discussion once again elaborately. Otherwise, Bangladesh refugees, the so-called immigrants problem, so this is a very, very huge in India, even before the 1971, even after 1971, even today also that problem is persisting, and immediately followed by drought in the year 1972. All the problems, all these reasons, because of all the reasons, plan number 4 was considered to be a failure. That is the reason why, if a country wants economic stability, first of all, the country has to be careful with respect to, these wars. War always damages. Resources will be lost. People will be, this people's life will be lost. Time will be, lots of time will be consumed. Development will be, this hampered. Lots of problems will be there. That is the reason why. So war has to be avoided under any circumstances. But though India tried to avoid this war, but we could not do it. That is the reason why, this particular this plan was considered to be a failure, and war was one of the reasons. And after that one again, the fifth plan has come into the picture, starting from the year 1974 to 1979. Again, it was Srimati Indira Gandhi, so who was the Prime Minister of India during that time. First plan was a success, second plan was a partial success. Third plan was a failure, fourth plan was a failure. Why? You know the reasons I told you. And when it comes to the fifth plan, this is comparatively much more failure than the previous 5 year plans. Much more failure. And for the failure of the third plan and fourth plan, I can attribute the external reasons. So, right, so because external reasons and also the nature also played a role. So, meaning India involved in war with China and Pakistan in the third plan period, and during fourth plan again there was a war with this Pakistan. So that really destroyed the whole system. But when it comes to followed by the failure of the monsoons. So, but when it comes to this fifth plan, the reasons are completely internal, and majority of the critics they point to fingers towards Srimati Indira Gandhi. And Indira Gandhi was considered to be the main reason for the failure of the fifth 5 year plan. What happened? Let's recollect this. So during our Indian polity classes, I was discussing with you with respect to national emergency, and the national emergency was imposed in India for three times. First time in 1962 because of war with China, second time 1971 because of war with Pakistan, and third time 1975 because of the internal disturbances. First two emergencies were considered to be the external emergency because the reasons are external. But when it comes to the third one, there is the internal emergency because the reason is internal. And the reason is internal. So, and the reason is only Srimati Indira Gandhi during that time. Clear? Let me touch this story very fastly. In the year 1971, election was conducted. Right? Election was conducted, and Srimati Indira Gandhi, she got elected from Rai Bareli constituency, Uttar Pradesh, and she defeated Raj Narayan, and she became the Prime Minister of India. And after that, Raj Narayan has approached Allahabad High Court by filing a petition so to declare election of Srimati Indira Gandhi as null and void. So please declare her as disqualified. And he mentioned various reasons for this misusing the official machinery. And in the year 1975, the Allahabad High Court has given the judgment, and the judgment came in favor of Raj Narayan, and the judgment was against Srimati Indira Gandhi. And Indira Gandhi was announced as disqualified on June 12th, 1975. And she was asked to step down as the Prime Minister immediately. And later, what happened? She immediately approached the Supreme Court of India, and she got a stay order. And for time being, she was permitted to continue as the Prime Minister of India, but she was also permitted to go to Lok Sabha, but not to vote in the Lok Sabha. Meaning, conditions were imposed on Srimati Indira Gandhi. And that was a time where the Congress coterie has come into the picture, and Indira Gandhi extended full support, and India Indira Gandhi government declared national emergency on the grounds of the so-called internal disturbances. And today, the words internal disturbances are not mentioned in the constitution. The words internal disturbances have been replaced by, armed rebellion. Clear? So meaning is simple during that particular time. In reality, the critics say that there was nothing like any internal emergency or internal disturbances. But Srimati Indira Gandhi deliberately imposed the national emergency, so to take the more powers and to nullify the judgments of the Supreme Court and High Court against her. That's the reason why 42nd Amendment took place in the year 1976. And through this 42nd Amendment, so many changes were made to the Constitution of India, and the changes were made in favor so that they will be suitable to Srimati Indira Gandhi during that time. So, like this, various changes were made, and I was telling you, 42nd Amendment is criticized as a mini constitution. It is called mini constitution because many changes were made by that particular amendment. Clear? And she nullified the judgments of the Supreme Court, right? So against her. and she made herself qualified to continue as a Lok Sabha member, and she continued as a prime minister. And during that time, lots of this opposition was there from opposition parties, and she used the powers, and a majority of the leaders from the opposition party were arrested and thrown behind the bars. And that particular period was considered to be the darkest days in the history of the post independent India, and that continued up to the year 1977. Clear? So meaning I am talking about 1975 to 1977 internal emergency, right? So national emergency, it is because of the reasons of the internal disturbances. Am I clear? Now what should be done? Another major thing has been taken place now. 1971 election was the fifth Lok Sabha election, and the normal term of the Lok Sabha is 5 years. If the election was conducted in 1971, next election should be conducted in the year 1976, right? But the election was conducted in the year 1977 because there is a provision in the constitution where there is a provision in the constitution where the term of the Lok Sabha can be extended by not more than 1 year at a time. This provision was there, and by utilizing the provisions, the parliament has passed the act, and the term of the fifth Lok Sabha has been extended by 1 year. Meaning instead of 5, it became 6, and that is applicable only that particular Lok Sabha. Clear? And if you want to extend it further, you can extend it, right? And of course it was extended for 1 more year, but without utilizing that 1 more year, the Lok Sabha was dissolved in the year 1977, and elections were conducted in the year 1977. Right? So that was the first time. So that was the first time this non-Congress party came to the powers, and Morarji Desai became the Prime Minister of India, right? And Charan Singh became the Deputy Prime Minister of India. So like this, these things have happened, and the things were going on. So look at the fifth 5 year plan. So when you have a plan and when you have some targets, but your ideas and your goals only on the self protection. So because of the various disturbances that are happening in the country, and this particular plan was not considered to be a successful one. Am I clear? Next, another important point with respect to fifth 5 year plan is that when did you start fifth 5 year plan? 1974. 1974 to 5 years means it should continue up to 1979. Listen carefully. It should continue up to 1979. But certain changes, political changes have been taken place in India, and Srimati Indira Gandhi was replaced by Morarji Desai in the year 1977, right? And after he becomes the Prime Minister of India, so he decided to terminate the fifth 5 year plan 1 year in advance. Meaning, instead of continuing the fifth 5 year plan up to 1979, fifth plan was terminated in the year 1978 only. Who did it? Morarji Desai did it. Clear? And fifth plan is the only plan where, right, which is the one which has been terminated 1 year in advance. Hope you are getting me. Very, very important. Fifth plan has been terminated 1 year in advance, and remaining all 5 year plans, they continued for 5 years. Clear? Hope you are getting this. Very, very, very important point. And the decision was taken by Morarji Desai, and Morarji Desai has introduced the rolling plans in the year 1978. Okay, rolling plans. What do you mean by a rolling plan? We know what is the 5 year plan, and we know what is annual plan. What do you mean by a rolling plan? A rolling plan is also 5 year plan. Rolling plan is also 5 year plan. But in rolling plan, what happens is that once the first year is over, the plan will be revised. And how many years are left? 4 years are left. And you will also make a plan for 1 more year. 1 year is over, 4 years are there, plan will be revised, and you will be making, so you will be adding 1 more year at the end. So again, you will have 5 year plans. So now 1 more year is over, right? Again, how many years are left? 4 years are left. You will be revising it, and again you will be adding one more year. So like this, at any point of time, meaning from any financial year, if you look at the rolling plan, you can see the future for the coming 5 years. Am I clear? But otherwise, what will happen in the 5 year plan? 1 year is over, 4 years are left. 2 years are over, 3 years are left. Three are over, two are left. But in the rolling plan, from any financial year, the first day of the financial year, if you look at the plan, you can see the plan for the coming 5 years. Meaning 1 year is over, you are adding one more year. Second year is over, and you are adding one more year. Like this, at any given point of time, you will have the 5 years picture in front of you. And kindly remember, Morarji Desai was the prime minister who introduced the rolling plans, right? So now, how many times rolling plan was introduced? Rolling plan was introduced only for one time. Clear? It started in the year 1978 and continued up to the year 1970 and 1980. That's it. Only 2 years. Why? All this happened because of the political instability. This happened because of the political instability in the country. Morarji Desai was forced to step down in the year 1979. He submitted the resignation letter. Later, Charan Singh became the Prime Minister of India, and he continued for a period of time. And kindly remember this, generally what will happen whenever a person becomes a Prime Minister, and we have the Lok Sabha sessions and Rajya Sabha sessions. Is it okay? And we expect the Prime Minister to go to Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha and deliver something. Right? And every Prime Minister in India, when that person was the Prime Minister, so everybody went to Lok Sabha. Everybody went to Lok Sabha, but only one person, that is Charan Singh, Chaudhary Charan Singh, was the only person who never went to Lok Sabha when he was the Prime Minister. No Lok Sabha session has been taken place because that particular situation was very sensitive situation, delicate situation for this Charan Singh. After Morarji Desai submitted the resignation letter, so there was a split in the Janata Party, and of course this man Chaudhary Charan Singh became the Prime Minister. But unfortunately, he was not enjoying the confidence of the Lok Sabha. There was no majority in the Lok Sabha for him, and the President was asking him to prove his majority on the floor of the House. Opposition parties were waiting to introduce the no confidence motion against Chaudhary Charan Singh government so that he can be pulled down. And he knows the pulse of it. That is the reason why. So he never advised the President of India to summon the Parliament. Right, and the President was sending the reminders, but Prime Minister did not bother. Later, at the end of the 1979, President took the decision, and Lok Sabha was dissolved, and the early 1980 elections were conducted. And during that time, this is Srimati Indira Gandhi became the Prime Minister. During the election time, she convinced the people that Congress party is the only solution to address all the problems in the country. So because you have seen the experience with the new political party, new government, only Congress party can deliver certain things. And she was successful in convincing the people. And whatever the atrocities that were faced by the people during the national emergency period, people have forgotten. And again, Srimati Indira Gandhi became the Prime Minister of India. Clear? And after she becomes the Prime Minister, again she terminated the rolling plans and she started the again 5-year plans. So hope you are getting this. Fourth plan, fifth plan was terminated 1 year in advance. This is the only plan which was terminated 1 year in advance, and rolling plans were introduced by Morarji Desai. And within a short period, in the early 1980, Srimati Indira Gandhi became the Prime Minister of India. She terminated the rolling plan, and again she introduced the so-called the 5-year plans. Clear? And that continued. So starting from 1980, it continued up to 1985. But unfortunately, in 1984, On October 31st, she was assassinated, and Rajiv Gandhi became the Prime Minister of India. And immediately after that one, Lok Sabha elections were held. Again, Congress party got the majority. For the first time in the history of India, a political party has got more than 400 seats in the Lok Sabha, and that party was headed by Rajiv Gandhi during that time. And with a thumping majority, he became the Prime Minister of India, and he continued the plans. Sixth plan was over, seventh plan. So like this, it was introduced. And the seventh plan, so starting from this 1985, I'll show you the document. 1985, it continued up to the year 1990. Now, so when Rajiv Gandhi became the Prime Minister of India, so there were so many hopes for the people that for the first time a very young person became the Prime Minister. And Rajiv Gandhi was considered to be, Mr. Clean. In fact, he was very new to politics. He joined the politics in the year 1980. Though his family has got the background of the politics since the beginning, right? So his grandfather, his mother, right? So all these people were prime ministers. But Rajiv Gandhi, initially he was not interested in politics, but he was interested in, this doing some, job. He was a pilot. But unfortunately, what happened in the year 1980, his brother Sanjay Gandhi, so he was killed in an air crash. Sanjay Gandhi was killed. And during that time, there was a tremendous pressure on Rajiv Gandhi so to enter into politics. And Rajiv Gandhi entered into the politics, and he became, this Lok Sabha member in the year 1980. He contested from Amethi, right? Contested from Amethi, and he got elected. And Amethi was a constituency of, this Sanjay Gandhi. And he got elected. And unfortunate death of Srimati Indira Gandhi in the year 1984 made Rajiv Gandhi the prime minister. So, all right. So, till that time, there were no allegations, no accusations. He was considered to be Mr. Clean. But after he becomes the prime minister of India, so he had to face certain problems, right? And slowly the confidence of the people on Rajiv Gandhi has come down. At the same time, the Bofors scam has come to the forefront, and Rajiv Gandhi was blamed for that one, and his image was tarnished. And though he made certain attempts to, this making Panchayati Raj as a constitutional body, so they were not successful. Clear. And finally, in the year 1989, when the elections were conducted. So when the elections were conducted, Congress party lost the majority. Congress party from 400 plus in Lok Sabha, it has been reduced to 197. Clear, 197. And Congress party was the single largest, excuse me, single largest party in the Lok Sabha. But Rajiv Gandhi refused to form the government, and during that time, coalition government was formed by the name National Front Government, and it was headed by Vishwanath Pratap Singh. VP Singh became the Prime Minister of India, and after he becomes the Prime Minister, what happened? The government decided to give up the 5-year plans, and they wanted to introduce the annual plans. So second time annual plan was introduced in the year 1990 and continued up to the year 1992. Clear. So again, so many dramatic changes have been taken place in Indian political system. Vishwanath Pratap Singh continued for 1 year, and after that one, Chandrasekhar became the Prime Minister of India. And in the year 1991, so he also submitted the resignation letter because of the lack of confidence in the Lok Sabha. And inevitable midterm elections were conducted in India in the year 1991. Clear. And during that election campaign only, Rajiv Gandhi was assassinated. And PV Narasimha Rao during that time, so he became the Prime Minister of India. Clear. And after he becomes the Prime Minister of India, starting from the year 1992, again he introduced the 5-year plans. Clear. And starting from the year 1992 till today, so we got all the 5-year plans again. 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th, and right now, so we're in the 12th 5-year plan. So, right, hope you're getting this. Initially, in the beginning, 3 5-year plans followed by 1 annual plan period. Again, 5-year plans and followed by 1 rolling plan. Rolling plan was introduced by Morarji Desai. Again, 5-year plans, and again annual plan period for 2 years. Clear? How many annual plan periods? Two. All right, 66 to 69. So, 1992, 1990 to 1992. So like this, we have the annual plans. Am I clear? So meaning is simple. So if you observe this very carefully, our economic decisions depend more on our the political decisions. As the politics change, the economics will also change. That is the reason why political stability is a must for the nation to achieve economic stability. And what happened during this particular period, I'll show it to you now. So with respect to our 5-year plans, so please have a look at this. Look at this. Fourth plan, right? So we have discussed this. Fifth plan. So 1974 to 1979, the two main objectives was, this Garibi Hatao, eradication of poverty and the attainment of self-reliance. So this is a statement that was given by Srimati Indira Gandhi, Garibi Hatao. And she became very, very popular with this particular statement. So one possible question in the examination, please remember, who gave the slogan Garibi Hatao? Right? It was a question previously. Please remember this. Indira Gandhi is always remembered because she was very dynamic, and another reason, she was the only woman Prime Minister of India so far. Right. Next, Garibi Hatao. Right. So in the year 1977, Janata Party came to the power. And the fifth plan was terminated on March 31st, 1978, ahead of the schedule. And the Janata Party introduced the concept called rolling plan. So during this fifth plan, poverty eradication was given the highest priority. Attainment of self-reliance was given the high priority. National level program of minimum needs was introduced, and the minimum needs program covered. Look at this. Minimum needs means minimum requirement for the people. Elementary education, safe for drinking water, health care, shelter for the landless poor, nutrition, rural roads, rural electrification, slum development. And Janata Party terminated this program 1 year in advance. Okay, and during this particular period, there was a severe inflation, and that led to the bad performance of the plan. Is it clear? Along with the reasons I told you, like this internal emergency. Next, rolling plan 1978 to 1980. Fifth plan was terminated 1 year in advance, and the rolling plan gave the priority to the rural development. Look at this. Please read the statement. You will understand what is a rolling plan. In rolling plan, the plan is revised at the end of every year for the next 4 years, along with the formulation of a plan for the fifth year. Okay, next. Next is the sixth plan. Please have a look at this. 1980 to 1985. See here, what are all the political developments that took place? I have not added here. Because almost every point I have explained you during our Indian polity classes. That is the reason why. So here I thought it's not necessary. So to add all these points, but still because you already learned Indian polity, so you can remember all these points. Okay. Next. So during the sixth plan, energy was given the highest priority with the 27.9% outlay. Agriculture was given the second priority. The percentage of the people from below poverty line came down, BPL came down, good. So there was a positive performance in the oil sector. Food grain production also increased considerably. Wonderful thing, right? So this is what India wants every time, and the focus was on to was to increase national income, modern technology, decreasing the poverty and decreasing unemployment. Okay, increasing national income, increasing modern technology, decreasing poverty and decreasing unemployment, and finally this sixth plan is considered to be a success. Hopefully you can understand one thing: every plan is not a success. Every plan is not a success. That all depends on various factors, whether India is engaged in the wars, whether the monsoons are there, right? Are there any internal problems? The factors are many. You need to identify those factors in order to analyze whether a particular plan is a success or a failure. Next, seventh plan, have a look at this. Priority was given to the productive employment and energy. Agriculture was given the next priority. Focus was on food, work, and productivity. Industrial sickness occurred in the small sector. Industrial, what is that word I have used? Sickness. So, whenever a person is sick, what will happen? You will go to a doctor for medical checkup and treatment will be given. In the similar manner, so whenever there is a problem, even to the industrial sector, right, that problem is considered to be the sickness. What should be the problem here? Industries must grow. Industries must grow. But unfortunately, what happened? So I'll tell you later when I'm talking about the industry. I'll tell you what is the large scale industry, medium industry, small scale industry, cottage industries, tiny industries. I'll tell you all these things. What is the difference? But otherwise, remember this one. If the industry is sick, what do you mean by sick? First of all, if any industry, listen carefully, if any industry is incurring losses, if any industry is incurring losses for the last three consecutive years, then that industry can be declared as sick industry. Hope you are ready to this. 1 year loss, not sick. 2 years loss, not sick. But it should incur loss for the three consecutive years. Then only this is considered to be industrial sickness. Am I clear? So meaning as you are making continuous losses, what will happen? You need to give a treatment. Either you need to revise it, right? Sorry. Either you need to revive it or you need to close it. Clear? But so many problems are associated with that. I'll talk to you with respect to that one when I'm talking about the industry. But the point is that industrial sickness occurred in the small scale sector during this particular 5 year plan. Am I clear? So tomorrow in the examination, there may be a question. What do you mean by industrial sickness? Now you know what is the meaning of the word industrial sickness. How many years? 3 years. If an industry is consecutively making losses for the last 3 years, that is considered to be the industrial sickness. Right. Look at this. Seventh plan was a success as it exceeded the growth rate of 5% and reached 5.5%. It was a success. Sixth plan was a success. Seventh plan was a success. And a record level of food production of 172 million tons was achieved. 172 million tons. And immediately it is followed by annual plan or called plan holiday. And what is the period? 1990 to 1992. And you know the reasons for this. So later, this PV Narasimha Rao became the Prime Minister of India. And so after that, this he introduced so many reforms. Look at this. Human resources was given the top priority and called the human face element of adjustment. See, what do you mean by human resources? It is not just the presence of the large scale population. And if you take only population to consideration, largest resources are present in China and followed by India. No, that is not the human resources. When I'm talking about the human resources, I'm talking about the skill of the people, people that are present in a country for the who contribute for the this development of the nation, who contribute for the productivity of the nation. That is called the human resources. Especially starting from 1980s, every country in the world, all major countries in the world, they started talking about the human resources. Otherwise, previously, if a country has more financial resources, more material resources, more underground resources, right? Forget about underground resources. If you want to explore underground resources, again you require this financial resources. But otherwise, material resources and financial resources, in whatever the country is possessing, that country is considered to be, a very great economy. But later there was a realization that until and unless you include human resources in this one, so that is not a complete one. That is not a complete one. So what is the basic idea? Meaning is simple. Because in every planning, in every development, you require the participation of the people. Until and unless the people are not skilled people, the development is not possible. That is the reason why, if you look at any organization, everybody cannot contribute in the same manners. The productivity levels will vary. The skill they are applying, that will also vary from one person to the other person. But the idea of the skill development is that, so let's bring everybody to such a level through training. It's not so easy. It's not so easy, but attention has to be paid on that. So that is a place where you expect the quality of the human resources will come to the picture, and that is called the human resources. Clear, the more effectively you use the human resources, the more productivity of the organization and more productivity of the nation. That is the reason why this highest priority was given to human resources by PV Narasimha Rao government in the 8th 5-year plan. Am I clear? So now, so I'll also show you the points with respect to this, but I would like to say something. PV Narasimha Rao government was a minority government. What do you mean by this? Today, if you look at a government, if the government has majority in the Lok Sabha, they can continue in the government. Single party possessing the majority in the Lok Sabha can form a government, that is called majority government. Jawaharlal Nehru was the example, Indira Gandhi was the example, Rajiv Gandhi was the example. Majority government. But with the formation of the Janata Party government in India, National Front government, United Front government later, Atal Bihari Vajpayee, NDA government. So these are all considered to be the coalition governments, UPA governments. Because single party did not get the majority, some political parties will come together to form the government. So this is called coalition government. In coalition government, you have minimum 2 parties in the government. So meaning in the government means ministers will be not from single party, but they'll be from minimum 2 parties, maybe 3, 4, 5, 6. Right? That is the reason why, in order to know whether the government is coalition government or not, you just look at the ministers. Look at the ministers and try to identify whether all the ministers belong to a single party or the ministers are coming from various political parties. If they are coming from various political parties, take it for granted that is a coalition government. Today, the NDA government in India is the coalition government, because you have the various political parties in the government. Am I clear? But when I say minority government is a government which does not have the magic number in the Lok Sabha. What is the magic number? 272. Right? 272 or 273 as per the case. You know the whole story, right? Let me not go into the details of that. But otherwise, so 272 is the magic figure. But during that time, PV Narasimha Rao, the Congress party has got less than that. Still, he managed to continue because he took the support from other political parties and independents from outside. That is called outside support. When I say outside support, this is a support that is given by other political parties too. So, given by other political parties to the existing government. Outside support means not becoming a member in the government. Our people will not become the ministers, but support. So this is called the outside support. And PV Narasimha Rao continued, the government for 5 years. And that government was the minority government. Running such government is a really difficult task. But he managed very effectively. But at the end of the his career as the prime minister, lots of corruption charges have been, framed against him, right? And certain procedures are also been initiated. But later, of course, he passed away. He's no more now. So now this is what happened in the year 1996. Clear? And in the year 1996, when the elections have been taken place, Atal Bihari Vajpayee became the prime minister of India. And of course, that was also a minority government. And BJP was given the, asked by the president of India to form the government. And 15 days time was given to Atal Bihari Vajpayee to approve his majority. But on 13th day, it was clear that Atal Bihari Vajpayee could not prove the majority. That's the reason why he submitted the resignation letter. And Deve Gowda became the prime minister of India. And he continued as the prime minister for one year. And later, I.K. Gujral became the prime minister of India. And there was inevitable election in the year 1998, again a midterm election. Midterm election is an election that will be conducted much before the term of the Lok Sabha is over. Is that okay? And kindly remember, so far, 5 times midterm election was conducted in India. How many times? 5 times. So 1998, and during that time, again, elections were conducted. NDA formed the government. Atal Bihari Vajpayee became the Prime Minister of India. One of the supporters was AIADMK party led by, this Ms. Jayalalitha. And that government continued for, 13 months. After 13 months, Jayalalitha withdrew the support. And the government fell. Again, inevitable election was conducted in the year 1999. Meaning during that time, the government lasted only for 13 months. Only for 13 months. And when the elections took place in the year 1999, this time, India was, this completely comfortable. Again, Atal Bihari Vajpayee became the Prime Minister of India. And again, he continued for 5 years. Okay. And after that, Manmohan Singh for 10 years. And now you have Mr. Narendra Modi. Right. And during this time, so during the 5-year plans, what happened? I would like to show it to you now. Please have a look at this. Look at this. So human resources was given the top priority and called human face element of adjustment. Alleviation, meaning removal of the poverty and removing unemployment, was stressed. Since the human development is not possible without economic growth, priority was given to energy, transport, and communication. Recession in the industry, widening the budget deficits, etc., were the problems. And the GDP, gross domestic rate, was targeted at 5.6 but achieved 6.54%. And kindly see here, after that, we did not have any, this annual plans or rolling plans. 9th plan. Growth with justice and equality was given the priority. Agriculture and rural development was given the priority. During this period, Planning Commission suggested that the subsidies should not exceed rupees 72,800 crores. right? I was telling you, with respect to the problems, if you give more subsidies, there will be more burden on the government, there will be more burden on the nation. That is the reason why you need to strive and try to reduce the burden of subsidies. And when it comes to the ninth plan, the plan was not a success. And the poor state of infrastructure is the most pressing constraint for the growth. Until and unless this infrastructure is not strong, the growth or the development is not possible. Okay. Next is the 10th plan, doubling the per capita income in 10 years. And the reduction of the target was reduction of the BPL, below poverty line people, from 26% to 21% by the end of 2007. That was the target. And what is the meaning of per capita income? I told you already in the previous class. Next, when it comes to the 11th plan, look at this. The theme is towards a faster and more inclusive growth, not important for this examination point of view, but the target was to achieve 9% growth. High priority was given to education. Rural development, agriculture, irrigation, and health were given the priority. According to the government, Accordingly, the government decided to set up the 30 new central universities. And of course, this is a old information. This data is not required for any of this examination now. Okay, just for the sake of the information to be given, I am giving it to you. Otherwise, it's not important. Increasing literacy rate to 80% was the target. Reduction of infant mortality rate to 28. Reduction of maternal mortality rate to 1, and providing safe drinking water to all by the year 2009, but even today also it is not done. To improve the sex ratio to 950 by the year 2016. Broadband connectivity to all the villages by 2012. It is done, in fact. So this was done for all the villages, and this particular one is a successful one. Right? Next, telecommunications to all the villages. This is much more successful. That is the reason why wherever you go in the country today, you have the telecommunications. All right. And all this is possible because of the wider and very speed spread of the telecommunication system, especially after the 1991 economic reforms. Is that okay? That is the reason why wherever you go today, you will have, this telecommunications. And electricity to all the villages by the year 2009 could not be achieved. Roads to all the villages by the year 2009 could not be achieved. Panchayati Raj institutions to be given the priority, as India is the only country which has so many women elected representatives. Right? All this happened because of the 33% of the reservation that is provided by the Constitution in all the levels of the Panchayati Raj. That's the reason why no country has so much of women representation in the Panchayati Raj institutions. Next is the 12th five-year plan. Look at the period. You know the period. The draft was approved by NDC. I told you this one. Please remember this. This is important for your forthcoming examination. The theme of the 12th plan is faster, sustainable, and more inclusive growth. Faster, sustainable, and more inclusive growth. Okay, look at this. So during this particular plan, skill development was given the top priority. What is this I have written? 2012 to 2017. Yes. Yeah. So skill development has been given the highest priority, right? And kindly remember another important thing. The proposed target is 9%. Later, it has been reduced to 8.2%, and finally, it has been reduced to 8%. So Dr. Manmohan Singh, he was the prime minister, as you know. He was sticking to 9%, chairman of planning commission. And there is a person, you must be knowing this very famous personality, Montek Singh Ahluwalia. He was the deputy chairman for, this planning commission, and he was sticking to 8.2%. 9% is too much, according to him. So because you need to have the realistic figures. So right, so just giving the high figures and not achieving that one. So you need to give the realistic figures based on your present facts. So look at what are the resources available and what is the skill available, what you can do in the coming 5 years. That is the reason why Montek Singh Ahluwalia suggested 8.2% only, and later Dr. Manmohan Singh agreed for 8.2%. Okay, but again, that has been revised and finally accepted as 8%. 9, 8.2, and finally agreed as the 8%. Right? Look at this. So NDC approved the growth rate of 8%, and to generate 80 million jobs and to increase the investment in infrastructure. So these were the targets of the 12 5-year plans. So as of now, so we don't have any planning commission. So we need to wait and watch what the government is going to do from now. Niti Aayog has come into the picture. So this is this most effectively, this is going to be done from now onwards. In the planning, it's not just the domination of the central government, but the states are also going to play a very, very crucial role. Unlike in the planning commission, in Niti Aayog, chief ministers of all the states are the members. So now there is a platform where chief ministers can, raise their voice, and they can speak to they can speak very frankly, and all the requirements of the state can be fulfilled now. Clear? And this is a concept called cooperative federalism. Federalism is nothing but division of the powers. But though the powers are divided, you have to work cooperatively. So if you don't work with cooperation, development of the nation is not possible. Am I clear? Meaning, nation should be seen as a single entity. And if you keep on dividing on the name of the, these states, each state is showing its interest in its own development. So that is the reason why cooperative federalism has to come into the picture. Clear? This is a wonderful concept, and so India is going to achieve this very, very soon, right? And that's all for the day. And see you. So tomorrow we are again meeting during the same time, right? So tomorrow and after tomorrow, so we are meeting during the same time, and I'll be updating our schedule today in our site. So kindly have a look at this. Right. So thank you so much for being with me, and have a wonderful, wonderful day. Okay. Enjoy Sunday. Thank you.